Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we're going to be doing my TBR jar for August. This is terrifying that I'm already up to August for my TBR jar, and extra terrifying because I'm actually filming this a little bit in advance because I'm going on holiday. So I'm filming like my August TBR like a week and a bit into July, and that feels really wrong. I don't know about you, but I find August to be the trickiest month of the year to cope with it coming around, because I feel like there should be another month between July and August. It feels like we just skipped a few months. August feels like October. I would feel the same if somebody told me that the 1st of October was coming around. I'd be like, oh gosh, because August for me awakens the Christmas demon that lives within me, and I start preparing myself to see Christmas stuff emerge. Like, even though we're a couple months out before that'll really sink its claws in, August for me is the beginning of the end of the year, even though technically that's July. And it just means that Halloween's coming and Christmas will not be long after that, and that's super exciting. But anyway, let's start talking about books. So, as I'm filming this a little bit early, I can't really report back to you on how my TBR jar has been going for July, but for what I have read so far and for how it's looking so far, it's actually been going pretty well. So I'm really pleased with my new TBR jar system, where I've split it into 5 different categories. So I will be continuing that system for August, and yeah, so far I'm on track with my reading for July, and I'm really happy with it, and I really liked the spread of books I got across the different categories I wanted to pick from. So if you've seen my July TBR jar where I explained how that works, awesome. If you haven't, you can go watch the beginning of that video for me to explain it. I'm not going to double up, but I do need to pick whether I'm going to be reading a prequel and sequel or a backlist. In July, my prequel sequel pick was a Ranger's Apprentice book, so I think because I did that last month, I'm going to pick from my backlist this month, which means I will be picking 2 diverse books. I'll be picking from my backlist, I'll be picking 1 arc, and I'll be picking 2 presents. Yes, and then I have to remember which jar has what books. I really should have labelled them. To shake up the order of things, I'm going to start with the backlist book, which is from the biggest jar mug thing. So this is going to be good. I find this to be the most nerve-wracking pick because it could really be anything, so let's see. That couldn't have been more exciting. That is literally wow. I don't know if you watched my video from like 2 videos ago, and it was the TBR tag, and one of the questions was, what book are you most excited to read? And I didn't pick this book, but I very nearly did. That book is Furyborn. So excited, so excited. So Furyborn is this, and Furyborn came by Claire Legrand, and it came out last year, and I was super excited to read it. I feel like I have a special connection to this book because when I read the author's little story about how this got published, and she was talking about how this was the first book she wrote, but it was too long to be her debut, I personally feel like that's going to be my story to becoming an author, because I have written something and I do think it's true. Anyway, that's like too much detail. I'm just so excited to read this. This is an epic fantasy with assassins and probably magic. I can't even remember it. Yeah, elemental magic. I am so excited that I picked this out and that it wasn't a dud pick. This is a great start. This is a great start. Okay, I think I'm going to pick my diversity books for August. I'm so excited. I'm going to be really upset if this goes downhill now. Okay. Diversity, 2 books to be picked from here, and the first one we win some, we lose some, right? The God of Small Things, or All Things, I can't remember. The God of Small Things. That was a real mood killer. I jinxed it. But I have to read this at some point. Okay, so this is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, and this was a winner of the Man Booker Prize, and it was a book that I came across a really long time ago and I've put off reading ever since. I've been really afraid because it is a Booker book that it's going to be quite a dry read, but this is set in Afghanistan, I do believe. Oh, it doesn't have a blurb on it. That's really helpful. Okay, there's no blurb on this book, so I can't look that up easily, but yeah, I do believe that this is about Afghanistan, so I think this is supposed to be a really good read, but I will definitely be playing very hard to my rule of if by page 50 this book does not have me hooked, I will be DNFing it. So who knows? This could surprise me, but yes, this is one of my diversity reads, so let's pick the next one and hope it's fantasy. Oh, that's so exciting! So I picked A Jigsaw of Fire and Stars. So A Jigsaw of Fire and Stars is by Yaba Bado. It is probably one of my favorite covers of all time. It is absolutely stunning, and this is a fantasy story, and it is about... pretty sure it's a fantasy story. I could be wrong. Oh, it's magical realism. So it's about this kid who is the sole survivor of this shipwreck, and she comes ashore and gets taken in by this traveling circus, and etc, etc. There's a little bit more to the plot going on there. But my mum has read this and she really enjoyed it, and I have been meaning to read this for ages. I haven't heard a lot about this, but anybody who has read this did really enjoy it. So I'm much more excited about that one than The God of Small Things. So let's hope that this really lives up to expectations, because I have been itching to read this for a really long time. So that's so exciting. Okay, I'm gonna pick from my ARCs jar next. Just one of my ARCs. This is a great one to have picked out. I am so excited about this. So thankfully I've actually pulled this one out. This is the Unspoken Name. So the Unspoken Name is actually a relatively new release, and that is by A.K. Larkwood. It is a high fantasy story. It has trolls, it has lots of other things in it, and I am really, really excited to read this because of the scope of it. So thankfully I've picked that one out because I have so many older ones and there are some really newer books that I want to get around to instead. So honestly, maybe I shouldn't be doing a TBR jar for my ARCs. This should be really good. I've heard a number of great things about it and I have really high expectations. So let's cross our fingers that this is as good as it is supposed to be. So that brings us to the final jar that I'm going to be picking from, and that's my teeny tiny little presents jar. So these are all the books that I've been given for my birthday and Christmas last year. And it's really too small. Oh, that's a really cute one to have picked out. So I've actually pulled out the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now I know that J.K. Rowling is a bit of a taboo topic right now, but I still love Harry Potter and I will still be reading the Harry Potter books. So every year when the illustrated Harry Potters come out, I am given it at Christmas time as a present. So this is the illustrated copy of the Goblet of Fire, and I've been rereading them. So this will obviously be a reread, and it probably won't take me too long because it is A, Harry Potter, and B, I don't know, illustrated, so therefore it feels like it's gonna be quicker, but it's still a whole book. But I have been loving these. I think the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. I wish I was as talented as Jim Kay, so this will be exciting. I'm curious to see how much this might slow my reading down, however, because as much as I know that Harry Potter is a quick read for me, I obviously cannot take this one to work and read it on lunch breaks or on commutes. I will be reading this one only when I am at home, so that could well slow down my reading, but we'll just have to cross our fingers because I do already have pulled out 2 rather big fantasy books and a dry read, so August could be interesting, guys. We'll have to be very strict with our reading schedule. Okay, so one more pick from the birthday jar. Yay! So that's Between Shades of Grey. So this is a book that my sister actually got for me. No, was it my mum? I can't remember. And now I can't remember if it was Christmas or my birthday. But Between Shades of Grey is one of Ruta Sepetys. Somebody please tell me how to say that. I actually don't know how to say her surname. It's one of her earlier historical fictions. Well, it came before The Salt and the Sea, which got a lot of traction and was really popular. But this is a World War II story. It's set in Lithuania, and is it a World War II story? I did think it was. It's about a character who lives in Lithuania and they are taken away by the Soviet secret police to Siberia. And yeah, it sounds like really tragic. I do believe it's set in the backdrop of World War II, but I'm not quite sure. But I am so excited to read this. This is historical fiction, so this is one of 2 historical fictions that I will have for August, and I think I will absolutely lap this up. So these are all the books plus the Harry Potter, but I won't hold that up because I'm sure to drop that I have picked for August, with the exception of The God of Small Things. I'm actually really excited to read all of these. In August I will be going back and doing semester 2 of university, but I am hoping that I can get the balance right between work, studying, and everything that I do here on this channel and reading, but we will see how I go. I'm anticipating that the Unspoken Name, Between Shades of Grey, will be really quick reads and that some of the others might take me a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure, but I'm really excited to get around to all of these. So let's hope that I can stay on track in August as well as I have been so far going in July. Let me know if you've read any of these in the comments down below or if you're planning on reading any of them, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.